I don't know if I appreciate being called a tech tard, but I'm not even 100% sure what that means. It's us versus them, and you're them, buddy. And I'm sorry, but that includes all Android devices to me.
And this, dude, we love bantering back and forth with each other.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be an argument as soon as you brought it up. Yeah,
we really actually enjoy.
YouTube. YouTube. In case you don't know, folks, YouTube will flash you for stuff like that.
Oh yeah, bigger than life.
Triggering words.
I'll have to
air
put
quotes.
I'll have to put the.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put a sound effect over. You'll know what the word was. You know what John was getting at.
Pillaged. Fucking.
Yeah, we're going off here. I love it.
Crazy tangent. Are you good, man?
I'm good. I'm ready to go, man. Yeah,
all right, I'm coming in a little hot today, and I'm gonna put you on the spot because I don't get to do that very much.
All right, what do you got today, man?
So, I want to talk about this thing that you and I have had this conversation several times over between Apple and Android.
I fucking knew this was coming. All right,
fucker.
I knew this was coming, folks. All right,
just got done recording. In fourth wall, we just got done recording a metric to imperial deal that we actually, there's a little bit of planning to that one because we keep bantering about that too. But this one, Jason had no fucking idea. And I'm like, hey, I've got an idea. You're not going to know what it is.
All right, man.
So,
Apple versus Android. I'm in.
All right. So I am 100% an Android user. Across the board, I am in the Android ecosystem. And I have been for years. And Jason likes to be on his fucking high horse. And you know you do. About fucking Apple.
Did you just say iHorse? That's a funny play on words, man. iHorse.
Yeah,
very good. Okay, nice. I like that. Very good. Cheers, buddy. That was a good one. Yes, I'm on my iHorse about Apple. Yep.
But welcome in, everybody. We'll do this correctly. Welcome in, everybody, to the iShower After Work podcast. So I am John. As you all know, Jason is here with me on a lovely Saturday. And we're just getting after it because we feel just pissy today a little bit.
Yes, I got a pile of Red Bulls in me. John just gave me a quick beer here to maybe calm me down a tiny little bit. I was speaking a million miles an hour in our last recording, which I'm sure you will hear. I was passionate about that one.
But this is something I'm passionate about because I just don't see the fucking point of the fucking Apple devices.
All right. So let me just start out with a quick version of my perspective here, okay?
Please
and then
do.
You pick apart as you see fit. This will be a lot of argumentative stuff today, folks. Bear with us, all right? John really believes this. I have two simple opinions about this. I am happy with the product that I have. It works well with my life, and fuck Android. Okay, so there. Now you know where I'm at. We'll get into the reasons why.
And please tell me why fuck Android.
I'll be able to point out many examples as we go. I'm sure we've had this argument before, but you're coming in loaded for bear here. So I got to keep my wits about me.
So everybody across the board, it seems like this fucking social phenomena.
It is certainly, yeah.
That like, oh my God, you own an Android. Oh my God, you own a fucking iPhone. Yip-de-doo-da-day.
What a weird line to draw.
Right?
I mean,
is that the hill that you're going to die on, for one?
Right. People do it with everything, though. We've talked before. Tools, trucks.
Right. But in my life, being an Android user, I am connected to everything in my life.
As you've said.
Everything. My computer, my home, my fucking everything. Right?
Right.
And it plays well with everything. I don't have to worry about a fucking thing. And I think that it is all to do with Android-based operating systems being an open source kind of programming, right?
Okay.
It's not locked down, right? Apple has to be sandbox. Oh, we're not going to connect to that device because it's not an Apple fucking device. Bitch, please.
It's the funniest thing I've heard you say in weeks. Bitch, please. Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm gonna have an open mind, buddy. We're still arguing about this, but I'm gonna try to keep an open mind. All right. So I've mentioned this in the past, but it's an important thing to point out here. When it comes to how technology works and using more than the basic versions of technology, John is. I am a caveman clicking rocks together to make fire, and John's using a blowtorch. All right, folks. He is way ahead of me on this whole thing. Right. Let's just preface by saying that. All right. You talk about sandbox. So what you're saying is that's saying that if you're on the Apple platform, your connectivity is basically within that ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay. And you're telling me that that's bad.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Why is that bad? If I have Apple products, for the most part,
Right.
I know you got holes you can pick in that, okay, and which I'm sure you will. What difference?
Because there's products out there that are far superior than what Apple links to,
Right.
that iPhone users don't have access to.
For example.
So we'll take it broad span. All right. I'll start broad. Smart houses.
Okay.
All right. When you're talking smart houses, Apple has their home link network and shit like that. Right. I don't know of a single fucking person that has that. Not one.
Nor do I.
Your Ring, your Google Nest thermostats, which are
That's Android.
top tier.
It's top tier. Yeah.
They're Android, right? Now, is there apps that you can download their app on your iPhone and you can link to it through an app?
I link to my Ring cameras through my iPhone.
Right. But when it comes to my Android, it's built in to my Android. I pull up I just put in a Nest thermostat.
Okay.
And I love that thing, by the way. I hopped on my Google Home network. It already had found it.
Okay.
like,
So
okay.
automatic connectivity. That's a good point. All right.
So it's just easier. There's no extra app. There's no extra bullshit. I have control of everything.
All right. So you've used both in the past, right?
I currently do. I have to have the company I have. God love them. They run Apple devices.
Oh yeah. We'll get into it. I mean, that's kind of the thing in the States and Canada right now, right? So
There's a reason for that.
So before we get off point, okay, so you're talking about connectivity in the home, thermostat or whatever, right? I can not connect my Apple phone to a Nest. Like I can still connect to that, right? You're just saying it's easier for you to do it. It just does it sort of organically.
Yes.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Continue. All right.
All of my computers, right? My laptop, my desktop that I use for this podcast. My phone as we sit down in the job trailer, air quotes. That great podcasting. Can't fucking see me do air quotes. My phone links to my computer. I don't have to do nothing. I can send you a message.
I admit I have had trouble connecting my phone to my laptop.
Right. I send you text messages while I'm working on things, from my computer, and I don't have to grab my phone.
That is kind of convenient, yeah.
I enjoy that ability of connection.
Okay.
Right.
So that being said, take my case. I have an iPhone, an iPad, like that stuff all interconnects perfectly fine within that ecosystem.
Within the ecosystem.
Okay.
Right.
Your point does make a lot of sense, but my ecosystem already kind of does that for me, except for a couple of things you pointed out, right?
Yeah.
What's the point of me changing?
And when you're in the system, when you're in the ecosystem, it doesn't. I guess I'm not here to change your mind. Kind of.
Seems like it.
A little bit, maybe.
Seems like.
But at the same time, if I can convince you that Android would just make your life easier, then I'm a step ahead.
So that's what you're doing right now. You're convincing me of that. Okay.
But here's the thing that I know about you, right? I know what your level of tech is,
Correct.
right? And Apple has done very, very well for the tech tarts.
I don't know if I appreciate being called a tech tard, but I'm not even 100% sure what that means. It sounds negative. Okay, so
It is a little bit.
it sounds a little bit negative.
I love you like a brother.
Yeah.
But
What's a tech tard? Let's get into that quick.
like you said a minute ago, I'm running a blowtorch. You're clicking stones together.
Okay. Oh, got it. And now I have a visual of it. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Apple has done very well with catering to that kind of level, right? Because I will give Apple this, they are set up for people to be able just to grab and make sense of everything.
Okay. So
Right.
ease of use.
Ease of use is not the right term.
I'm not putting words in your mouth. That's what I'm asking.
I'm trying to draw the right words. Y'all know I don't talk good all the time, but usability, customer interface.
Okay, customer interface. Gotcha.
Right. So they've made it easier for people to interface with their device.
Okay.
Right.
I'm taking notes here, buddy.
Okay.
Keep going.
Android, you need to be aware of the device that you're using. The device does a lot of things, and it's kind of an open platform. So you need to have knowledge of that device, in-depth knowledge, right? I can look up any file on my phone, everything. I can link files from my phone to my computer.
Okay.
Right. You can do that inside the Apple ecosystem. It does all that.
It is a little squirrely when I try to go between my phone and my laptop.
Right.
That is true, right?
Right. It doesn't always enjoy those platforms cross-playing. But if you have an Android, I know people are all like, oh, well, it's an Android. You must be, lower class.
Well, we did come across the stat that iPhone users...
Yes, iPhone users are technically, statistically shown to have more income.
Just saying.
Your and my income is the same, brother.
Well, that's true, right? But statistically.
And you have to have more income as an Apple just to afford their fucking devices.
They are significantly more expensive than a lot of the Android.
Why is a fucking brick fucking $20?
It is.
Compared to $5, what it should be paying.
It is brutal, right?
I mean, oh my God. You're paying for the name. They've had a very good marketing campaign.
Well, I mean, I'm just, as we go here, you kind of drop this on me, so look it up. I mean, the U.S. and globally seem to be very different things, right? Mm-hmm. The U.S., it's not as much as it used to be. It's kind of mostly Apple.
Yep.
Like, did you find any specific numbers?
Well, it depends on where you look, right?
We have talked, the internet is a dumpster fire.
Right.
It's tough to narrow it down, especially in this field because they're looking so much to sell and upgrade new phones and new tablets and new devices.
Right.
That it's the first 30 things you see every time you look it up is an ad from T-Mobile or AT&T or whatever.
Or Verizon
exactly.
Check out our plans. Yeah. The one thing that it's from Exploding Topics.
That's a good source.
58.81 iPhone market share in the US compared to 40.81 for Android in the US.
That's not a huge bump. That's nearly 50-50.
Right.
It was way worse before, I know.
It was way worse before.
Yeah, if you get even to like 2018, it was double that.
Right. Now, I think people need to understand the iOS and the Android platforms are not that old.
No.
They were released in 2009.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
2007, 2009.
Yeah.
That's when our first smartphones were coming out.
Correct.
I was done with college.
I was already living in the States.
Yeah.
I had a flip phone Nextel with the Snake game on it as my first phone when I moved here. And my first upgrade after that was the Model 1 iPhone.
I was so happy when I was able to buy the Nokia. That old Nokia.
Oh, yeah, that brick.
Dude, I was super happy.
Yeah, we all were.
Not smartphone.
Yeah, not a smartphone at all, right?
So I think that's what people tend to forget is that this stuff's not that old.
Well,
right?
Not to mention, I just found something here that, so as of 2024, there's more than 1 billion iPhones in use around the world and more than 3 billion Androids. That's simple math right there. That's a 75% give or take market share worldwide.
Right.
Also important to point out, that's only one cell phone for essentially every 2 people in the world. There's still a big percentage of the world who don't have smartphones or cell phones for them.
Right. I think that's the other thing that we need to keep reminding ourselves. Having a smartphone, the ability to have the access to the smartphone.
First world problem.
First world problem,
buddy. Yeah, for sure.
And it's so funny how everything is tied to these social standards of cell phones.
Right.
Like we said earlier. And dude, it's like, I don't know, Nike and Reebok.
Kind of.
Right?
I would agree with that. But more people seem to be so staunch about both these things. Like, I admit, I'm staunch about Apple.
Right.
That's why we've argued about it so many times. Right. And like, listen, everybody who doesn't know, because most of you don't know me personally, I can get on my phone and use apps and the internet and take videos and photo, and I post social media stuff. And like, I can use my phone for what it's worth. Right. I can get on my smart TV and download an app and do all that, right? I'm not inept. But for a guy like me, who's not dug in deep to the technology and all the little extras that, let's admit, most of us construction people probably aren't using it for everything that you are. You're in a different world here, right?
Right.
How do you sell those extra features that you claim to be important, which obviously are to you? How do you sell that to just like a regular dude like me?
Here's the biggest thing that I have for sellability to regular people, regular, average day, normal people, to dump iPhones.
Okay.
The biggest one, honestly, is the price. Overpaying for a device that essentially does all the same shit. Right?
I did look it up here quick. The price difference between the newest Samsung and the newest Apple is about $500.
Yeah.
More on the Apple side, right?
Right.
For what's basically, I mean, I know it's a little apples and oranges, but we're just talking about a smartphone. It's basically the same phone.
Right.
Except for all the lies that Androids go on with. The fake moonshots. We all heard about that, right?
Dude, yeah, that was fucking weird.
Blowing up. Like,
hey, no, iPhone's got that issue now too. Recently.
I haven't heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah. They actually put a press release out saying, hey, you know what? Make sure that your phone isn't in the same bed. You're not laying in bed with your phone. It will overheat and blow up.
Really?
Yeah, that was Apple's big fucking press release here recently.
You know what, though? I believe you've mentioned this in arguments before, that most people who open up their Apple phones would see a Samsung battery. That still sounds like a Samsung problem to me.
That's Samsung. That's not Android. Android's the operating system.
Okay. Now you're turning things. I thought we were talking about phones. Okay, you're talking about operating system.
Android.
Apple, iPhone, iOS versus Android. Gotcha.
Because here's the deal. Apple runs iOS. Apple.
Right.
Apple.
That's it.
That's it. Fucking Google, Samsung. Every other phone runs Android. All of them run Android.
I guess that's true. I can't argue that. Yeah.
Right. Now, I own a Google Pixel 8 Pro. That's the one that I have. Right. Okay. I went to Google Pixels because they're just a better Android phone. They don't come with all the extra bullshit so Samsung really likes bloatware.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah, a bunch of extras already there when you turn your phone on.
That you can't get the fuck rid of.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Google doesn't do that. Right. Now,
neither does Apple, by the way.
Apple does. Have you seen your fucking device?
Every day.
I can go ahead and just look up your apps that are not installed by you.
Oh, but you just delete that. Like I am, at least.
Not all. You can't.
Well, some of them you can't. That's true. But now we're getting into how technology is screwing us all over, and that's a totally different episode.
Exactly. So I found this website, Apple iPhone 15 Pro.
Okay.
Right?
The newest version.
The newest version. Now that is until this coming up October, September.
Right. As of as of the August date of this recording. Sure.
Apple iPhone 15 Pro compared to the Google Pixel 8 Pro. Right. Almost the same specs. The Google Pixel 8 walked away with in a comparison test for features and everything. It's a better phone with a cheaper price.
How much cheaper?
Right. We're talking now. They pull prices off of the kind of average on this site. They pull averages. $620 on Amazon for the iPhone because the new model's coming out this year. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
Google Pixel 8, $419 off Amazon.
That's pretty cheap.
Now, what that does though, and you can look it up, it's on versus.com, and you can actually compare several different smartphones if you really want to. Now those prices range. When the iPhone 15 Pro was released, I think I want to say it was $1,800.
That sounds about right, actually.
Right? My Google Pixel 8 Pro, brand new release, was $1,100.
First world problem still, though. It's pretty expensive for a phone, right?
It's damn expensive.
Yeah, I know. I paid for mine through my my telephone provider, my service provider, who had recently sent me the email or whatever saying, "Oh, hey, your phone's paid off. You ready to upgrade?" Like, no, man. No. I don't need the new one. I'm also not trading in my truck for an undervalued price. Like,
Right.
fuck off, Dodge. I'm not doing it.
Fuck all the way off.
I love a side tangent, man. All the letters and emails you get about this stuff, we can probably get you a truck for the same price. I would certainly hope so if you're going to put me in an undervalued trade and an overvalued price. Like, why?
And that's what's happening with phones.
Wait, why the fuck would I do that? That's happening with phones too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not just the phones. Like, we should broaden our mind here a little. Phone, tablet, watches, connectivity to the house. We talked about some of that stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, I admit, I have a hodgepodge in my place, right?
Right.
Which might be part of the reason I have some connectivity issues that you're using as part of your platform to convince me here.
Right.
I have Alexa, and I got this, and I got Ring camera. Like, mine's, I don't buy all Apple stuff.
Right.
Like, my laptop isn't, because Mac is expensive.
Oh, they're stupid expensive for the bricks that they are. Now, here's what I will give Apple this credit.
Okay.
Their iPhones, their iPads, and their MacBooks. They are designed and built for people that are doing social creating.
Yeah, content creator.
Content creators. They're built for those people.
As much fun it was to watch you to struggle to figure that out.
They are. It just it pains me to say it. That's why I have a hard time getting the words out.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. You just want to take my phone and smash it. Like, I see what's going
Little
on, right?
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For everybody who's just listening, like, John is really stressed about this.
So they have done very well on that. The problem is like I enjoy my laptop. I enjoy my desktop. I do my content creation for this podcast on both of them, but I also like to do other things. I play video games on my computers.
Sure.
Right? Most MacBooks, you can't do that. The games don't play on MacBooks because of their chipset.
Right, and I don't, without getting too technical, I don't play games on my laptop. It's basically for the podcast, right? Like,
Yep. And I don't know, man. Apple's just a cunt.
See, and that's the way, listen, so defending the Apple people here, right? Which we've admitted is the bigger percentage within the States, right? Which is also a point for me if it's, and I realize it's a close comparison, but it's the most commonly used. That benefits me. Airdropping stuff to people.
Are you airdropping fucking to random people?
I admit, not that often, but I have, right? I think to put it on the construction perspective,
Yep.
I have never come across any technical issue on the job between using, like, I have an iPhone, somebody else has got this, like, sharing information, it's never an issue. Emails go back and forth, text messages, like, it's all seamless with that, right?
Yep.
So from the work perspective, except for the fact I've admitted before, I have an Apple iPad at home that I use for my own shit, mostly just for fun and screwing around, searching the internet, right?
Sure.
But my work tablet is a Samsung, and I have tried to be open-minded, dude. I just find it clunky.
It's backwards. Yeah. The usability is completely different across the platforms.
Well,
Mixing the platforms to do the same thing. You have an iPhone for work and a Samsung tablet for work.
I use my own personal phone for work and get mildly compensated from my company. I could get separate work phone. I just don't want to carry two phones.
What would they give you if it's a work phone?
I really don't know, to be honest with you, because I just keep using mine. They asked me when I first switched parts of the job and said, "Oh, do you want a phone?" I'm like, no, just pay me whatever you pay me a month for use my own service, right?
I'm going to tell you to change that.
Well, here's the thing. I know in my particular case, I could go into my company and tell them, because I know people have done it in the past, and say, "Hey, listen, I'm not used to this part of the product. When I come up for a new tablet, can it be an Apple?" They're not staunch with my company. They float kind of both ways.
No, I'll tell you to get another phone. Separate work.
Well, see, that's that's where you're at. But man, I don't want to carry two phones.
I do every day. It's great.
It's great.
I fucking love it.
No, see, and
I will never fucking share phones between work and personal.
Oh, dude, I keep so much stuff in my pockets as it is. I don't need another phone carrying around.
Yeah, you don't have to carry the other phone. Just separate them.
Well, I guess that could be something.
I think there's 3 people in my fucking company that knows my personal number for a reason.
There is something to be said for being able to put down your work phone after hours and not getting it. I can kind of see that a little bit, sure.
That's a side tangent, though. So,
well, side tangents. Listen, man, let's talk about we talked about it briefly, the social context here, right?
Yep.
Dodge, Ford, Chevy, Ram,
Right.
Milwaukee, DeWalt, right?
Right.
Man, like, there's an awful lot of talk about that weird bubble color that comes up. Like, I like that my iPhone tells me you're one of them.
Oh, get fucking bent.
I know right away. Oh, that's one of them people. You got
It's one of them people?
Yeah, dude, it's the only socially acceptable construct where you can say that anymore. Oh, you're one of them.
Yeah, well.
You're those people.
I mean, if you really want to hang on to that fucking...
But that's what we're talking about here, is hanging on to our beliefs, right?
Oh, and by the way, just a heads up, that's going to go away for you.
Yeah, see, I'm a little sad about that, actually.
I'm not.
I like getting that heads up. You know, you're kind of one of them uppity Android people. Like, it was good to know that in advance. It'd be like if there was a separate color again that told me you're into CrossFit or you were vegan. Like, I'd like to know these things
Okay, I'd
up
like
front.
to know those.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're all right with that.
Let's expand that technology.
So, but that's only because Apple's been getting their fucking asses handed to them. The EU has been basically telling Apple to get fucked. That's why everybody has the new phones are USB-C charging now.
I do hate that they had a different charging platform. Now, it didn't affect me so much because I just use a generic magnetic inductive charger. I just put it on the pad and it charges. I don't worry about plugging it in, except I have to in my truck, in my van, right? Like,
Right.
That is a bit of a hassle. I would like to see some uniformity there.
Yep.
We talked in the tool episode. They're doing that with batteries for power tools now. They're pushing that as well.
That's funny shit.
Yeah. Which I tried one of the adapters recently. Side note, they're not that convenient, but go ahead.
But look at even electric vehicles. They're all standardizing them.
Right. It makes sense.
Right. But Apple's getting... They're getting their hand slapped for all their software. It doesn't work right. They're having to change. I would really like to be able to send you a picture from my phone.
It is inconvenient that we have to send that through a separate app to get the same resolution. That sucks.
Because my Android takes better pictures than your iPhone does.
Now, see, I'm going to argue this point, man. The photos on my camera are beautiful.
Yeah,
they look just fine.
Until we have to use them for something else.
Oh, hey, look.
You send them to me.
We've used both our cameras on our phones for taking photos and videos for the episodes.
Oh, sure.
You can't tell me, except for the fact that I take photos from my perspective of you and maybe a guest, and you do them from the other direction. That's the only reason we know which picture is which.
Yeah.
If somebody else was walking around with phones taking us, we wouldn't know. It's the same thing.
They're all 4K
All
videos.
I know, like I mentioned earlier, all I know about that is they say that the Pixel Pro, whatever, has got the greatest new FYI camera that's out there in the world ever. It's the greatest. All I know is that they lied about the fucking moon shots. That was
Samsung. That was Samsung.
I'm sorry, buddy. You're going to have to lump in. I know you said it was the operating system, right? You got to lump in all the Android phones against Apple. That's what I'm fucking talking about here.
You can't, though.
I am. See, dude, I am doing that. I don't see it as the operating system of my phone. Although we've admitted, I don't like, I find it a little clunky, right? Mostly because I'm not 100% used to it. But dude, that's the exact issue that we're talking about here. It's us versus them, and you're them, buddy. And I'm sorry, but that includes all Android devices. To me.
Well, at the same time, though, like when it comes to cameras and stuff like that, we're all running 4K, right? We're all running high def. In a nutshell, you can't tell the difference between one or another until I send one to you and you send one to me. And I look at it going, that's fucking garbage. Hey, Jason, will you email this or upload this to the drive?
Right. But again, all the amazing advancements in this technology, that's not a crazy step considering it used to be take a photo, go to the photo mat, get the film developed, and hope those pictures turned out. Like, we're living in a great world now where if that's what I have to do, that's not a big hassle for me. That's not enough of a reason to change.
Yeah, first world problem, though. Fucking, it's just another step.
Right. And again, this is the thing. I think this is part of the reason that people, myself included, think that the Android people are a little uppity because everything's got to be just so. I can take an extra step. I'm fine.
No, you're not. Most people aren't. Don't fucking lie to yourself. No, you're not.
Why do you not think that? What are you getting at?
Nobody likes fucking inconvenience. Nobody. We live in a world of convenience. We pay for convenience. Nobody wants an extra fucking step.
I'm just saying I'm willing to do that if the alternative is me changing my entire ecosystem, replacing everything in my house.
You wouldn't have to. You'd change your phone and your iPad.
And my wife's phone, which is going to be a tough sell, buddy. We got to admit that's part of the conversation here.
Look, and that's the other deal. When me and my wife got together, I had an iPhone, right? And I've switched back between the two a couple of times.
Yeah, multiple times, right? Yeah, you have said that.
Because of I'm able to. Whether you want to call that freaking privilege or not, yeah, I work for my money. Leave me the fuck alone. I can do with it as I please. But knowing what I can do on my Android and knowing what I was capable of doing on my iPhone, yeah, when it comes to that was probably the biggest thing was with my wife when I got together with her. I was sick and tired of taking those extra fucking steps every time that I wanted to share something with her. So the only way it benefits you is if you and your wife change. Because that's your ecosystem. Your wife is your ecosystem.
Correct. She's her and you and a couple other friends are basically my entire social ecosystem when it comes to changing things on the phone and exchanging information. Right? Yep. That's true.
Yep. So you got to do what benefits you personally. Mine was switching to Android because my entire life connects.
Yeah, that was you trying to keep your missus happy and keep the household. That's the same. We're arguing two sides of the same coin here, buddy.
Yeah, but I like being able to be connected to all my shit easily. Again, without extra steps.
Again, though, I'm within my ecosystem. I'm connected to myself.
You are.
All right. Let me put you on the spot here. Okay, you brought this up. Take a minute. Think about it. I have a comment while you're racking this in your brain, if it takes you a second here. Mm-hmm. For a dude like me, who I just admitted recently, I use my phone in a very basic way. Mm-hmm. I'm not jailbreaking anything like the kids say. I'm not modding anything like that. For me, give me the top 3 things other than cost. I don't want to talk about cost anymore. That's if we're willing to pay for a smartphone, 30-40% difference if you're happy with what you're getting, I think is negligible in this particular case. I'm not trying to save $200, $300, or $400 when I buy a phone. Although it might be important to some people. I'm willing to admit that, right? Other than cost, give me 3 factors that are really going to sell me on making this change. And I admit, listen, dude, it's not a big change. All the companies have bring in your phone and your tablet and we'll change you out for a brand new everything, right? Like I could get a deal and go in and get a bunch of stuff free.
Right, you could.
Switching it won't be tough, right?
Right.
You got to sell me on I want you to sum it up here. I want you to sell me on the benefits of making this change because it seems unnecessary to me.
Well, first of all, we need to actually point out how stubborn of a fucker that you actually are. And you're not going to change no matter what I say. But
that's not true. I'm willing to admit it's a hard sell and I'm stubborn as shit. But you have changed my mind on things before, so it's not like I can't change.
I can't actually count that even on one hand.
We have known each other a while. That cuts a little deep, to be honest with you. You know me just as well as a lot of people. And the fact that you believe that makes me think that a lot of other people probably think that too. I might need to reflect on my life here a little after this episode.
Maybe look inward.
Yeah, maybe.
Through your iPhone.
Yeah, a little introspection through my iPhone, which the clarity and resolution of looking at myself is great.
Let's see here. Okay. So I will say first big one. Device reliability.
Okay.
Android phones, either Google Pixels, Samsungs, even though it is what it is, they are built better.
Okay.
Right. The glass and whatnot that are used, even on my Pixel, I want to point out, yes, it has a glass back, just like your iPhone does. Proven in structural tests, they're built stronger.
Okay.
That
particular phone, not every Android-based phone. I'm just clarifying, right?
Most Android phones.
Okay.
Are built stronger. iPhone has a real problem with bending and cracking. Right.
Okay. I work construction. I've never bent or cracked mine, but I'm sure some people are less.
You've kept it in a good case, though. Right. That's key.
Right. Key. Okay. Right. Yeah. So, all right. Reliability. Right. I'm hearing you, buddy. Keep going. Okay.
Device reliability is probably my biggest factor. Right. And then I would have to say Apple's sneaky bullshit with making phones inept to the point of, hey, you want to hang on to this phone for a little while? oh, by the way, we're going to slow that fucker way down because of our operating system updates are going to bog it down so far that it's just going to make it a brick. Never had that problem with Android.
I've never experienced that myself, but I've heard people talk about it. Okay, I'm listening, man.
Man, I don't know about a third.
So so this is where we come to, okay? From my perspective, I've never had an issue with either of the two things, right? Also, I really like the fact that when it comes to the Apple universe, let's say, their ecosystem, right? That when I get, and this may happen on other phones, I might be arguing a point that would happen with any Android device. I find that all my updates don't bog anything down. They happen automatically. I don't have to go on. There's no extra steps. I put it on the charger. I fall asleep. I wake up in the morning. Oh, had an update.
Yep.
Are some of them BS, unnecessary little tweaks that don't affect my day-to-day? Most of them are. That's sure. But that's every cell phone, right?
I've never had that problem with an Android.
But again, it's not a problem. Like it's updates have never slowed my phone down. I've got a million updates on my phone since I've had them, and not that many, right? But every 3 weeks, there's a quick update about something. They all went smooth. My phone didn't noticeably stop working.
Your phone has to update that much? That's horrible.
No. See, this is where we're going to get into it here, buddy. Okay. That's where I'm going to argue it. That's not horrible. I want the technology I'm using to be updated to the newest, greatest, best version, get rid of bugs, change this, fix. If they sent one every night and it happened automatically when I'm sleeping, it also knows to do it on low times where I'm very unlikely to be using my phone.
Yep.
I mean, I got no complaints with that stuff, right?
Yeah. It's the same with Android.
I'm sure it is.
It is. I was just trying to be a smart ass.
I realize this whole episode is us being smart asses about this. I think that if I was to switch over and try everything new, I would probably find the functionality for my purposes exactly the same as the Apple.
It'll be negligible.
Yeah. I think
Right.
once I got used to how it was, this, that, and the other thing, right?
Yep.
I'm going to fall back on a point I made earlier, and at the risk of being repetitive, I don't want to be one of you people. It gets such a social bad rap. I don't even know how that got into my brain. I'm sure that happened with kids originally, right? Probably for the same reason we talked about with that generation, status. And in a lot of generations, status has always been a thing. So if it was a slightly more expensive phone, maybe younger people and that just kind of flowed up to the rest of us of, well, Apple people are better. You know, you always see that meme of the people from the vampire movie Twilight, where they're all dressed up fancy up on the balcony, and it's like iPhone users looking down on like all the like
Androids,
right? And then it shows some like backwater guy with an old 20-year-old like Android phone, right? Like, but it's in the ecosystem, and somehow it seeped into my head that I feel like I'm going to, and maybe this is advertising by Apple or whatever. I feel like I'm going to lose out on something that I'm comfortable using that works great for me by switching.
You know, if they would have come up with anything new in the past 20 years, you might actually lose out on something. They haven't.
What do you mean nothing new? Like they got a new phone every other year or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it's a new phone. It's a new phone created and running shit that Androids have had already.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great. That's a plus. You're arguing that as a negative. That's a plus to me.
It's a second-rate phone.
No.
No. If you take something, okay, there is a list out there, and I couldn't find it anymore because the internet's a freaking dumpster fire. 101 things that fucking Androids had before Apple. Look, Apple, all they do is take things that Android had and use them.
Okay.
And say, hey, this is great.
This is excellent. We've found the tipping point here. Okay. Perfect. It happened. I couldn't disagree more with what you just said. And here's why, buddy. Okay.
They're not innovative.
I don't need them to be innovative. Let me
go back to a flip phone.
Let me ask you, hold on. No, don't be like that. Let me ask you a question. Okay. And I think this is going to maybe sum up my position really, really, really well here.
Okay.
You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, that Apple doesn't come up with original ideas and basically takes them from Android developers from multiple companies or whatever. They take the pick and choose what they want.
Yep.
Excellent. That's what they should be doing. I don't want them to spend a bunch of money on research and all this. Steal it from you guys. I'm fine with that. That's the way the world works.
And you still want to pay $2,000 for a phone?
because they got the best possible stuff they could from everywhere else and they put them into the product that's in my hand, boy. That's perfect. You're arguing that like it's a bad thing. To me, that's excellent to me.
They're lazy.
Dude, the Wright brothers invented the plane. I'm fine with like stealth fighters. They started to build on what other people had done. I'm not
using a stealth fighter.
No, but what I'm saying is they built on what other people did. That's historically the way they make things.
Yeah, but when competition is what drives companies. There's no competition. Apple's just taking. They're not actually trying to do anything to improve.
But they're giving that take to me, and I'm the consumer.
They ain't giving shit to you because you're paying for it.
I mean, I'm getting the benefits that other companies have developed. I'm perfectly fine with that. I actually think that's a positive, not negative.
And you know what? Maybe that's just it. Because I want to be supporting the people that are actually creating things and innovative and R&D.
Wow, it sure sounds uppity for someone claiming not to be an uppity Android person. That was pretty uppity, I think, actually. I'm willing to take the position I'm in, and you're like, no, we need to be innovating and creating. Get the fuck out of here with all that. I'm back to my original point. Fuck Android.
Yeah, fuck Apple.
All right, there we are, buddy. We cannot beat this dead horse anymore. I am willing to admit that I could switch over to an Android product, switch everything over, and be perfectly happy. I kind of understand why people don't want to switch their entire ecosystem, because when it comes right down to it, the same as we kind of got down to when we did our metric versus imperial episode, it's all about what you're used to.
It really is.
And at this point, am I willing to make the change when it comes right down to it, okay, to save a few bucks?
You're probably not. And most people probably aren't. I would really like to end this. Dude, we love bantering back and forth with each other.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be an argument as soon as you brought it up. Yeah,
we really actually enjoy because we can walk away from this and be brothers again without a fucking problem, right?
That's true.
But at the same time, what I would really like to actually see happen society-wise is stop fucking degrading one another. Because what works in your ecosystem doesn't work in mine. What works in mine doesn't work in yours. I'm just a fucking human.
That's absolutely true. And to that point, man, I think that sums up kind of what we talked about really well, because it's just one more reason that we choose to inherently divide ourselves from another group for no reason.
For no fucking reason at all.
It's part of the reason I like arguing it with you and other people, because it's not a social, racial, political, economic argument I'm making back and forth about something that really matters. It's the stupidest thing to divide ourselves about, and I don't mind arguing with people about it, because it's nothing negative socially about it. It's picking some random thing like, wait, you wear gray shirts? Man, fuck you and your gray shirts. It's the dumbest thing.
Right.
But I think that's why I find it fun to argue about with people, because it doesn't have any real strong connection to anything real.
And that's the part that I'm worried about, man, is it's starting to. Like, it's starting to really drive some wedges between people.
Can you imagine now? It used to be what army you were part of or what country you were, or I mean, it still is what political party you're part of, right?
Right.
All the things we find to divide ourselves, and now it's all the way down to the smartphone. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, go get fucked.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Reevaluate your shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Think of something more important that maybe you need to consider arguing about.
Yeah.
But again, I don't like arguing those other things, because I think those divisions are just out there to keep us divided.
Yeah,
that's why I don't mind having arguments about this one, because this one I can at least laugh at and go, well, I'm not telling you how to vote, I'm just telling you your phone sucks.
Right.
Yeah, I also drive a Dodge and you drive a Chevy, so
exactly,
we would
in real world.
In a real world, right? Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Is there anything that you want to actually let everybody know? I started this episode. You finish it off.
All right, fair enough, man. I think I've made my position pretty clear twice.
Yeah.
It comes right down to that. Yes, I would certainly be willing to try the other ones. I've tried to pin you down before to say, hey, listen, if I was willing to switch and have you make no financial commitment or responsibility to my decision to switch all my phones and tablets and everything over, I recall I couldn't even get you to commit to shaving off your raggedy beard for the week it would take to grow back.
No.
Right. So if you were slightly more committed to your position, I might be slightly more flexible, but I think that's just Android people are just...
I tell you what, I will make this agreement. if you don't like it, I'll buy us tickets to a hockey game. I'll take you out to a hockey game.
Ooh, that's tempting. All right, we're going to come back to that. That might be the deal. We might sloop back to this. I might be willing to make the change and try, and I will be honest with you. If not anything, I try to be honest about stuff, folks. I really do. Like, I mean, would I fuck with John and just say no for the hopes of a hockey game? Maybe, but we have a friendship log chair, but I hate to ruin it over hockey tickets. Listen, dude, that sums up our positions here, I think. We'll give you a follow-up, folks, about this. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help us out. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Tell a friend. Share this with somebody. We really want to grow this little podcast. You can find basically everything and all our connections on the ISAW Podcast website. It's isawpodcast.com, as easy as pie.
Yep.
If you want to send us a message, we'd really like those. Voice or text, 507-607-ISAW. It's 507-607-4729.
And our SpeakPipe app.
And our SpeakPipe app is on there as well. And not to ram everything down your throat at once, but since we're doing it, also the Buy Us a Beer widget on our website if you do want to help out this little free podcast we're putting out there for you. Dude, I think that's it. I would like to thank you for this one. I had a lot of laughs. I know we like arguing with each other, and everybody who hears this is going to hear these from time to time. We'll just spring something on the other guy for fun now and then. So I like this one, buddy. And until next week, thanks for joining us in the job trailer. Remember that your work keeps the world working, and
Sláinte.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Be safe this week.